Hey everybody, it's your boy Angel. Hope and pray that you're having a blessed day. I know I am. Bring you guys a little video talking about Konami's recent update to their tournament policies. And I've been reading over this for about 20 minutes or so. Kind of going over it with a fine-tooth comb just to make sure I'm not missing anything and make sure I'm ready for the next event. But in some I see that I think are pretty good. I think there's one I will look over specifically was talking about changes in hygiene policy. And I thought that was pretty funny because, man, in my opinion, that's been a long time coming. We needed to, had some kind of enforceable policy that dealt with folks coming into the tournaments stanking. Man, look, let's be real. We all walked in tournaments, cats smelling like, tool hogs fighting over nasty corn cobs, man. It's ridiculous. Folks are grown men. You need to be coming in showered and ready to go, man. If you got money for Yugioh cards, you got money for, bars of soap, man. That's just bottom line. So, hats off to Konami for doing that one. But going down to section M and N is when I start to get a little bit concerned because, my opinion, this will be another policy that I think Konami is not necessarily thinking all the way through in terms of can it be manipulated and how well it can be manipulated by other players. Not everybody who plays is going to be on the level. Guys, there's a lot of scumbags out there. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great people in our community, but at the same time, there are a lot of scumbags or a lot of, 2-cent cheats out there. And in my opinion, it is, as a company and as a gaming company especially, it's your job to make sure the policies that you put in place are not easily bendable by the players, i.e. making something that's pretty black and white, set in stone, and not something that you can be vague on or allow, so much gray area on. And this, for me, is an example of when they're doing that. It's going into private knowledge and what's considered private knowledge, etc. And then where I really get concerned about is card, hand, deck verification down to section N. So going over it, just real quick, private knowledge. So the following information is considered private knowledge unless a card effect states otherwise. Information that's private knowledge may not be revealed by a duelist except by a card effect. Duelists may not answer questions about any game stated information that is considered private knowledge. The card content still in the deck. This includes the main deck, side deck, and extra deck. So, i.e., you can't even answer a question about putting to your own deck and give out that knowledge for free. You just can't do that. It says not all cards that are face down, cards that are in the opponent's hand, or which cards the opponent set or summoned during a previous turn. Now, giving false information about information that is considered private knowledge or intentionally revealing information that is considered private knowledge may result in a disqualification penalty. So once again, even if it's your deck, you can't just reveal knowledge, and if you're lying about private knowledge, you can get DQ'd. Okay, so we already understand that part, but here, this is where, as we get down to section N, is where it starts to get murky, and I don't think Konami is necessarily thinking this all the way through with these changes. Now, giving a good example, here's where I kind of see where Konami is going with this. For instance, a duelist may not reveal that he has honest in his hand unless he is legally activating the card at that time. Now, me personally, I think that's actually a good change, and it's good that we're enforcing that because I see plenty of times where a player will say, show me this in hand, and I'll scoop, etc. like that. You know what I'm saying? Basically guarantee they're going to give the other player the win just if they verify they have a card in hand. They do it and then they don't scoop, or they change a strategy, or change a play that they would have made, etc., etc. And they're basically just lying just to get knowledge. And if you fall for that, in my opinion, that's your fault. But if Konami wants to make that enforceable policy, then I don't blame them on that. These other facts right here, you guys can read over during the video. I want to get into down here a little bit. To where I think this is kind of getting a little bit, I would dare say ridiculous. It says now, card hand deck verification. Now, with the exception of cards selected by a search effect, you may not search or verify any of your opponent's private knowledge locations. So we already went over that. Deck content such as face down cards, unless you are otherwise directed to do so by a card effect. You may not ask a judge either to verify your opponent's hand, deck contents, or face down cards unless there is supportable evidence that your opponent may be cheating or that there may be a valid deck related issue. Okay, once again, let's go into this example here. It says duelist activates the effect of Mr. Tomato. Upon searching his deck, he realizes that he does not have a legal card to special summon. His opponent does not get to search the main deck to verify. Now, here's the problem with that. I understand that some players will say this one. Hey, just because I made a mistake doesn't mean that my opponent should be able to get a look at my whole strategy. I understand that, that's fine. And to a certain point, I do agree with you. But at the same time, you need to look at the bigger picture. It's your deck. It's your responsibility. What's being called out. You need to understand the resources that are circulating, etc. And if you're trying to use that effect, and then you go into your deck and you say, "Well, I don't have it," that's not good enough, and it's not fair to the opponent. Just to have to take your word for it. You should never be in a situation. This is the bigger picture, in my opinion, guys. And feel free to leave your opinion down in the comment section. The company Konami should never have a rule that basically leaves something up to a matter of a player's word. Everything in my opinion has to be enforceable. Everything has to be verifiable. I we're talking basically a scientific method to how we play the game, observable and repeatable. There should be nothing left up to just your word. For instance, getting into one prime example I see a lot of people using. I see a lot on Zodiac Duelist right now for players who are kind of outraged at this. Mind Crush. Say if I flip Mind Crush and I call out Ash Blossom or something like that, my only thing my opponent has to do is say they don't have it. I can't demand to search their hand, etc. I can't have a judge call and verify what they have and to enforce this or not. And then a big kicker for me is say if I call out something like that. And I try to call a judge, says, "Hey, judge, I call Ash. He has Ash in hand, etc., whatnot." All he has to do, what I'm saying, and basically in rebuttal, say, "No, he might crush a different card in my hand and got it wrong," and that's still not enforceable. I mean, one could say be up to judge interpretation, but once again, though, this is creating another kind of gray area, opaque, vague, policy in which I think players can manipulate this and use this to cheating. I think we've seen this with the time rules. I've seen the time rules heavily manipulated, guys. I've seen guys, slow play for up to 5 minutes just to stall out draws, just to win around based on the fact that they, know if they give their opponent a turn, they're going to win, they're going to lose that duel. And I think this is just another example of, a policy being enforced is not all the way thought out. And, just once again, I don't really believe it's the best direction for the game. But who knows, I might be wrong, guys. Leave your opinion down in the comment section and be blessed, guys. It's your boy Angel out. Peace.